Let's meet Sasha Foo, who is a true pioneer and inspiration for all women in television media journalism. Although her humble roots began in radio, Sasha eventually became the first Asian female anchor at the CNN network. Now retired from a successful career and living in San Diego, Sasha now focuses her passion for storytelling and even acting with her new life's pursuits that she shares with us.
I love journalism. I love the idea of being able to listen carefully to people and try to translate what they're telling me into something that is moving or profound or something that communicates to another person about what this other person's experience is like. My parents came here separately from China to the United States. They met each other, got married, and had 2 daughters. I'm the eldest, and I have a sister. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I was always a really strong writer, and my high school journalism teacher said, well, maybe you want to think about going into television. And I thought, really? That's odd. But I had this idea, well, maybe I'll try my hand at journalism. So my first job actually was at KYW News Radio in Philadelphia, and I was admitted to a rather elite program called the Westinghouse Management Training Program. I basically shadowed a radio reporter for about 8-9 months, and then I got my first job as a radio news writer. At that time, Cable News Network had just started, and they were starting a second network, which was going to be called Headline News. So on a whim, I sent a tape, and I got hired.
Good evening, I'm Sasha Foo. This is Newsnight Saturday.
From the beginning, in 1981, I was on Headline News as an anchor. And then a couple years later, I jumped over to CNN, regular CNN. It was interesting because it was this fledgling network. Nobody really understood at the time how important that network would be. It was very exciting. I was at CNN for about 5 years, and after I left CNN, I did not get another broadcasting job for a while. So I reinvented myself as an advertising copywriter. So I worked in advertising for about 5 years, and I didn't know if I was going to go back to broadcasting, but I did get a call out of the blue. It was about a week after I got laid off from my advertising job, and it was for a job in Seattle as a weekend anchor.
The city of Seattle hopes to make some $10 million from parking tickets alone this year.
I was only in Seattle on the air for a year. I finally got another job in Boston, lost that job, went to New York as a freelancer, was there for about a year, then got a job in LA as the weekend anchor, was there for about 4.5 years, ended up in San Francisco, and then went to San Diego.
Those children and their parents are due to arrive in Murrieta for temporary housing after being flown from Texas to San Diego.
Joined the station here in 2003, and I had a 17-year tenure at the station in San Diego.
For the last time, Sasha Foo, KUSI News.
I found myself feeling very uncomfortable with this shift that I've observed, in that facts are being taken over by opinion and by ideology. And facts are being twisted by some people in the media to represent a particular point of view, a particular opinion. Some might even call it propagandistic. I'm very uncomfortable about that. I think I'm old school. I think journalists should present facts and let the viewer or the reader interpret what those facts mean. I don't want to impose my perspective on that. I think a good journalist fundamentally has to be curious and open-minded. If you don't have those traits, your reporting is shallow. And that is the problem now that we face, because we're all in our little silos, you know, oh, I don't want to talk to these people because that doesn't reflect my point of view, or we don't want to talk to these people because I feel differently. Well, why can't we acknowledge that, yes, I don't feel the same about this, but I still need to listen to you because I need to understand where you're coming from and why you feel that way. It's increasingly difficult, I think, to listen to other people with an open mind. And that's what I would tell the young journalist. Try to be open-minded. Try to seek out opinions that are different than your own, if only to educate yourself, to find out why they have that experience. I mean, everybody's experience colors the way they see things, right? And, you know, I'm guilty of it myself at times, so I gotta say, you know, we all kind of have to watch that. And as a journalist, somebody who's, you know, you're also chronicling history. So you're also a historian, you're an observer. And you're recording things. This is for your children and their children. It's important to get it right. 2020 was a period when a lot of people began to think about what they were doing because they were forced to. I mean, things were not normal. And although I was still working in the field and still enjoying it for the most part, I began to think, well, is there something else I want to do? And is it time to do that? And so the pandemic, I'm blessed, also gave me an opportunity to reflect on what was going on in my life personally. And I decided, you know, this is a good time at least to leave broadcasting, maybe just temporarily, and look at some of the other interests I've had. Writing, acting, performing, and so I'm doing that. I'm starting on this other road and seeing where it will take me. I'm Sasha Foo, and this is my voice.